Welcome back, Tribe. Have a potentially important development here. So, former Yale student acquitted in struggle snuggle case speaks out. So, acquitted, but now also he got cleared to sue Yale and the person who accused him of the said act.
And now the elimination game. Now, in the world that the left's created, a mere allegation can lead to cancellation. Now, by cancellation, I mean the loss of income, the loss of a platform, the loss of future opportunities. Now, of course, the strictest enforcement of this is always against those whom the left believes to be hostile to the liberal worldview. Case in point, actor, comedian, and cultural provocateur Russell Brand. The Times of London reported that between 2006 and 2013, several women have accused him of sexual assault and rape. Now, Brand insists the allegations are false.
As I've written about extensively in my books, I was very, very promiscuous. Now, during that time of promiscuity, the relationships I had were absolutely always consensual.
Of course, none of us knows what the truth is here. I've never met Brand, and I only know he's rattled the cage of some leftists lately for comments he's made, I think, about free speech and big pharma. But we should all understand this. It is dangerous territory we're entering. When accusations published by media outlets and unaccompanied by a legal determination of guilt are all that it takes to destroy someone's livelihood, which is what they're trying to do here. After the allegations surfaced, Brand was immediately demonetized on YouTube while they continue to keep his videos up so they can, I guess, make money. And then he was dropped by his talent agency, dropped by his book publisher, and a lot of others. So just canceled immediately. No further questions asked. In 2019, they tried to do the same to that Covington Catholic kid, Nick Sandmann. He was attacked and painted as racist because of a few seconds of a viral video.
The kid, Nick Sandmann, he did make a choice, and that was to make it into a standoff.
These kids are around the guy, and they're all jeering, and they're dancing. He's got this smug look on his face. And let's not lie. Everyone that sees that smug look wants to punch that kid.
Whoops. Sandmann, of course, won a big out-of-court settlement against media outlets on defamation grounds. And a year earlier, a police officer was accused of sexually assaulting a woman he arrested for DUI, then threatening to shoot her fiancé. But body cam footage revealed the accuser made the entire thing up. And at Yale University, the campus was rocked when a student was charged with rape there. Another female student said that this individual attacked her in her dorm room on Halloween night in 2015. The accused, Saif Khan, said that the encounter was consensual, and he was eventually acquitted in court. That didn't matter. Yale still kicked him out, expelled him. An allegation was all it took. He's in the middle of litigation now against the university, and there's more to come. That former student, Saif Khan, joins me now. Saif, we'll talk about your next lawsuit in a moment, but first, tell me how this ended up impacting your life.
Good evening, Laura. It has eviscerated my life in every way possible, from the harms that they have presented to my family and the dangers. There was a petition against me where people were saying all sorts of nasty stuff, and the viciousness, my reputation, my career, every single thing I was able to do in life has been crippled now because of this allegation that is baseless.
I mean, people watching across the country hear that you were accused of something. You said it was consensual. You were eventually acquitted of this. Why did the university decide to kick you out anyway?
They are a corporation. They are not the government. They are not beholden to due process. They don't have to care. They have to simply see what is their bottom line. And so there was a ton of campus pressure from girls feeling uncomfortably being in class with me or in the dining hall. And so they just expelled me anyway. One of the craziest arguments that Yale.
The fact that he can say they just expelled me anyway, and people don't raise their eyebrows and say, what the hell is going on with due process, with human rights, with your rights in general as a man in the United States, is beyond me. I can't fathom something like this happening in Eastern Europe or other parts of the world that aren't indoctrinated in this insane, what would you call it, woke culture? I don't even know what to label it anymore. It's just, it's pure insanity. There's no justice here anymore. As a man, you have to watch your back. It sucks that we have to go back to videos like this and bring stuff up like this. We know the cards are stacked against us. We know the system is pushing the other side at the detriment to men.
Hey everyone, if you have a minute, please head over to legionofmen.store and grab yourself some cool merch as well. We have a bunch of limited edition designs, brand new stuff on the way, and all the proceeds go to supporting the channel. We don't want to be sponsored by corporations where we have to submit videos for review, have our speech impeded, or push any products that we don't use. So thank you so much to everybody that goes into the shop. Again, it's legionofmen.store. I'll put it up here for you guys. First time customers get a 10% off, and we have a bunch of great designs by artists from the community that watch the channel and support. They get proceeds as well, a percentage of everything that gets sold. So community funded through and through. And it's no synthetic fibers on any on our products. We're using cotton only, of course. I got your back from all those chemicals from synthetic fibers. Again, appreciate you guys. Let's continue.
There's no empowerment message. There's no be a boy, be a strong man, lead, nothing. It's move off to the side, give women space, keep your mouth shut, and all the other things that come along with female empowerment today. It's gotten so twisted that the archaic 1920s, 30s laws that we had for women, like if they made an accusation, the Duluth model, we always accepted it. Hey, if she says something about a man, we're going to take her at face value, period, no matter what, because women were powerless, in the 20s and 30s compared to today. But now with the advent of equality, with diversity and inclusion, with all these social engineered pushes to equalize men and women, we still have the backward 1920s laws that allow women insane bias from the government, from law enforcement, and from culture to run around willy-nilly and do things like accuse someone of something and it just being taken as truth, as gospel. And then you have to go through the court process, but not until your life is ruined, not until your world's turned upside down, not until your friends look at you sideways, not until your family tries to disown you, your wife maybe divorces, not until all these things happen and you maybe win in court because you might have had a video. You had some sort of text message proof, because without those, you would have been screwed. The guy's already screwed. He already got expelled. He lost years of education. Nobody wants to hire him anymore. This dude's only chance after even being acquitted is to get multi-million-dollar payouts and be an entrepreneur the rest of his life. Because the moment a prospective employer Googles his name, they do not want that person working for their company. He's been excommunicated. It's sad to say, man. And we're being gaslit in society today to say that women are oppressed. Funny. This is a situation when women have privilege. They're the privileged class. They're getting coddled. They're getting brought up in society. They have women's only things still, whether it's scholarships or spaces or programs, all funded by the public specifically for them. But men only stuff doesn't exist anymore. Male spaces have disappeared. We don't even have the Boy Scouts anymore. The Boy Scouts had to be rebranded to allow girls in. We had a Girl Scout. Why did that happen? I don't know. Could go on and on, but let's see what goes on here.
Bill had said was that just because a court of law says that you're not guilty doesn't mean we think you're not guilty.
Well, I think, again, an allegation that ultimately is not proven in a court of law can still do enormous damage. Saif, you have another lawsuit you're filing?
I have multiple suits. My main one is against Yale, several administrators, including the president and the dean, and Jane Doe.
Jane Doe.
Well, Saif, this is wild. We're going to be following it. And I certainly think that this...
So Jane Doe, her identity is not known. And what do some of the comments say? Thanks for giving this man airtime and show how dangerous these women's accusations are. What happened to that former Yale student is why I believe so heavily in innocent until proven guilty in due process. I have a son and this scares me for him. Yeah, you should be very afraid. As a man, if you have a seed and you're thinking of guiding them towards college, you have to absolutely do your due diligence as a father, as a woman too, as a mother, because if you send your kid to one of these ultra woke liberal colleges, God forbid something happens where a woman decides to accuse your son of something and he turns out to actually be innocent like this, and his entire life and your family's life is turned upside down because the internet is full of crazy people. People will show up at your house and pick at everything. People will dox your family and start finding out where you work as a father, as a mother. Like, they'll turn not only his life upside down on a false accusation. drag his name through the mud just off of words. No proof. But they'll do it to your whole family. The internet is a beautiful thing, but also very vicious. And to follow up on this video, this news station is speaking on the significance of the Yale suit with the lawyer.
And look, it's clear that how sexual assault allegations have been handled on college campuses is a deeply flawed process. You could argue it was deeply flawed long before, and the pendulum then swung too hard one way and now swinging back. Schools, as you have heard, are now allowed to have this quasi-judicial system with their own set of rules, regulations that do not follow anything having to do with the rules of state and federal judicial systems. Kangaroo courts. News Nation legal analyst Sarah Azari is here with us. Sarah, I think it's important to make this note, right? Is at one point there was so many young women who were terrified to come forward. These processes were put in place to try to encourage them to come forward. How do we find a happy medium here, or do we just say schools shouldn't have any part of this?
I think your show is called On Balance, Leland. There needs to be balance in this. And, as a woman, I, of course, want women to come forward without any fear of retaliation, without a fear of being, not believed. But I do this in a court of law, and I do Title IX. I defend Title IX cases as well. And I see the absolute damage that this Me Too movement that's now become a racket has done to the process. When we're in a Title IX tribunal, like you said, it's not a real court. It's made up of administrators. There's no judge or jury. Evidentiary rules are limited, no cross-examination, preponderance of evidence is the standard, not beyond a reasonable doubt. It really is set up to just kind of check the box that they allowed the accused to present his case and then find him guilty. And so, and when we look to it, at how victims play out in a court of law, there's an exorbitant number of bad act witnesses, prior acts that are let in. They're not part of the case. They're not accusing the defendant in that specific case. Statute of limitations have run.
So, Sarah, what do you make of this lawsuit? And this, when we read about it, it's sort of wild to sue your accuser of defamation, which normally is protected because if you file a criminal complaint, you're protected. If it goes through you're protected by what you say in court. That the Connecticut Supreme Court of all people would say that the Yale process was so unfair, you don't get that protections. It feels like a watershed moment to me.
It is. And I think another watershed moment that we saw was, for example, it was a defamation suit, was with the Johnny Depp case. We're seeing that there are false accusations a lot. There are people that are telling the truth, but there are a lot of women who are not telling the truth. And so we have to have a system in place. And cross-examination, Leland, is the key tool that we have to test somebody's credibility. When it's he said, she said, and we don't have forensics, we rely on cross-examination. And so what better than to defer to a real court with real rules of evidence to let it play out? I think this defamation suit is significant. Because essentially, I get this question all the time. All right, well, now I spend all this money and I defend myself and then I get acquitted. What about the damage that was done to me? How do I go after this person for making false allegations? And so this is key because I think there must be, evidence that not only she didn't, meet the standard of proof beyond a reasonable doubt, but that she had actually made false accusations.
Yeah. That was the issue with all this. There's no consequences to accuse a man. And even if he got acquitted, his life was already ruined. So, if you're one of these women that wakes up and regrets the night after that she had with a one night stand or whatever, or girls find out, or the guy blabs his mouth, which is why I tell men all the time, keep your sex life private. Shut your mouth. Shut your stupid mouth. Stop talking to your friends about who you did what with, especially guys in college. Young men, listen to me. Keep your fucking mouth shut. Wherever you went, whoever you did what with, stop telling your friends. This is how stuff like this happens. Stop texting the boys. Stop saying shit about anything. Give no details to nobody. Because once word spreads, once the shame happens publicly, she will turn around and say, he did this to me. It wasn't consensual. That's your ass. There are thousands of men in prison innocent right now because they didn't keep their mouth shut. Bozos. Don't learn the hard way. This is one of the easiest ones to avoid. And going back to the issue of there being no repercussions, no consequences, that's what made them so willy-nilly to say stuff like this on top of, remember, you have to layer the cultural issues, the rot that we have. Female toxicity is at an all-time high. That men are worthless, men ain't ish, men are whatever, blah, blah, garbage. So it's very easy when you dehumanize a gender like that to look at them and say, you know what? He didn't do this to me at the end of the night. He didn't text me on my way out. He told stories about what we did. He made my reputation plummet in the eyes of my peers. I'm going to get back at him with a false accusation. It costs me nothing. Nothing bad can happen to me, and it'll turn his life upside down. Why not? So this, hopefully the lawsuit here, that is the watershed moment. What's going to happen is this kid wins big, and now it sets a precedent all around the states, everywhere, countrywide, that these kangaroo courts will have repercussions if they only check their stupid boxes and don't involve law enforcement and have more stringent rules for what constitutes an allegation and proof.
Yeah, what Saif said I thought was interesting was he said, and we can't independently confirm this, but the idea that there were emails and other things from Yale sort of putting their hand on the scale and trying to change the case. That changes everything. Sarah,
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And I know we'll be checking in on your podcast called The Presumption.
The accuser lied. She destroyed a person's life. The court and jury found her guilty. She should be sued and be in jail. Yeah. She should have jail time. It's shocking that when you're acquitted and the police find out that this person fabricated the story, wasted police resources, wasted everybody's time, destroyed this person's life, that there isn't any form of jail time. Shocking. And this is the class that considers themselves victims. Suppressed. Someone says it's absolutely disgusting that her name isn't being revealed. Yeah, at this point, it's wild. Yale is a joke. If this guy's reading is get the bag, we'll see what comes of it.